Welcome to part 3 of the TurboTwist 2 spinner review. Here you'll see the TurboTwist 2 spinner mounted to the top of my control panel. Now you'll see I've got it mounted to the top left of the Player 1 joystick. I'm a bit odd in that I like to have a joystick in my left hand and fire buttons with my right, yet I'll use a trackball with my right hand and fire with my left. But for a spinner device, just like a joystick, I prefer that in my left hand. So I'll dial with it here, and I found an area on my control panel that works really well for me, just up to the left of the joystick a bit. That way it doesn't interfere with the mag stick, plus it gives me lots of room. You know, I can spin, I'm not interfering with the joystick, and vice versa. Okay, now what I mentioned in part 1 was a spinner is essentially a mouse device as far as Windows is concerned. It's a mouse device that's locked in a particular axis. Now, I had showed you on the jumpers that I locked mine on the x-axis. So keeping that in mind, if you go into the Windows properties for your mouse, and I happen to be using Windows XP for this cab, you go into your mouse properties, you'll be able to impact the performance of your pointer speed depending on what your mouse properties are set to. You set it to very fast, you then use the spinner, you're going to dial very fast left to right in that axis. You set it to slow, the mouse pointer is going to move very slowly. Where this is important is depending on how your MAME configurations are set. They're going to be impacted based on how your mouse pointer properties are set in Windows. So for example, if you are mimicking somebody's settings based on, you know, the forums where, oh, you know what, sensitivity of 6 or speed of 6 works best with, you know, a specific game in question. Depending on how you've set your pointer speed could ultimately impact your performance. So what I like to do is I like to set the pointer speed just to a nice medium default. So it's not too slow, it's not too fast, it's right in the middle. And then I use that as the basis for my tweaking within MAME. So if we now actually go to MAME, I'll just close these windows down, and I'm using MAME UI FX, and surprise, I've got Tempest up. But if we look at the properties within Tempest, and how we do that is just simply launch the game, and you're all familiar with this probably, is you hit tab, and what you want to do is you want to go to the analog controls. Okay, and within the analog controls you're going to see a series of options, and you're going to get the dial digital speed, the dial reverse, and the dial sensitivity. Now for most spinner games you're going to find that dial reverse, you're going to want to have that set to off. And again, these settings are going to be completely subjective. They're going to be to your own personal taste. For me personally, for a game like Tempest, I like my digital speed and my sensitivity set to, you know, the numbers that you see on screen. So I've got my digital speed set to 7, I've got the sensitivity set to 9. To me, that most approximates what Tempest felt like in the arcade, or at least what I can remember it feeling like. Now, those might change over time, but I spent about an hour going through this the other day, and they seem to work best for me. Now you're going to go into another game. For example, you might you know, change the settings on a game like Arkanoid. 7 and 9 aren't necessarily going to work. In fact, they might be terrible because, again, like I was mentioning in part 1, these games were originally designed to handle spinners completely differently. Remember, I was saying a game like Arkanoid, it was designed that the minute your fingers left the dial, so you know, you spin, you leave the dial, your paddle would stop moving. Tempest was the exact opposite. You know, you could give it a spin and your ship would maintain its momentum even after your fingers left the dial. So to approximate that, you're going to have to tweak these settings somewhat. And again, that's where you do it. Just tab, get the properties of the MAME game in question. You won't want to do this on any other area than for the game specifically. Okay, so you can see there, that's 7 and 9. For me, for Tempest, your results might be completely different. Let's just take a quick peek at what the game looks like in terms of performance with the TurboTwist 2 spinner. Now I'm going to be playing this one-handed, obviously going to be at a really bad showing here. But what we'll do is enter some coins, and you can see here I got a nice rotational spin, and yet I can still tweak to the beams that I need to tweak to. And of course I got the one-handed capture there. But again, those are the settings for Tempest. You want to do that in Arkanoid, you're going to get completely different results. All right. Now what I want to show you next is a really, really cool game. And it's one that I highly recommend. And I'll show you. It's a Windows game. And it's called Typhoon 2001. If you have not got this game, absolutely get it. I strongly recommend this game, okay? Let's take a look at it. Again, this one is pretty much set to your Windows mouse default properties, okay? So you're going to want to adjust the speed there because there are no settings, that, at least that I could find within the game, to adjust your mouse pointer speed. So it's dependent on your Windows XP or Vista or whatever mouse pointer settings, okay? But this is just one fantastic game. It's got a lot of the spirit of Jeff Minter from Lamasoft. But look, I mean, fantastic. I get excited just loading it up here. But the visuals are just fantastic. It's honestly probably one of the best spinner games that you'll play, and it just works wonderfully with the TurboTwist 2. Highly recommend it. Anyways, that's been my review of the TurboTwist 2 spinner, and I've thrown in obviously a lot of general kind of spinner stuff that's going to apply regardless to what spinner you get. And again, that's because I don't really have any other spinners to compare this to. I know Ultimart, you know, sells an excellent spinner product as well, and I'm sure it functions very similar. So I've given you some general kind of information, but also, you know, how this one feels to me. And to me, this is the real deal. This is just fantastic, and I'm really happy I got this spinner. And I highly, highly recommend it to anybody out there. It really, really does make your cabinet complete. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.